You know what the fuck it is?
Aries and Andy, chewing the jerk.
You know it's time to get this work.
The real raw, gutter, uncut cocaine. No political corrections.
Always sleep.
Fuck being awoke. We discuss politics and jokes.
Scribe, we lit.
There's levels to this shit. Before you was sucking on your mama's tit.
Aries Spears don't give a fuck.
We talk about race a lot, racism,
Sexism.
Much love to my loyal bitch bag holders.
Rollers, clip loaders.
We got them in the folders.
The whole world on our shoulders.
Spears and Steinberg.
Yeah.
Today's episode is brought to you by Tums. That's right, Tums. To keep the Louis down. Oh boy. You know, yesterday. Oh, I just had a tranquilizer daughter, Tums. I'm not gonna.
Night, night, Louis.
Night, night, Louis. Here's with the fingers crossed. It's good. Tums is weird because it tastes like candy. You could eat 1,000 of those, but it's medicine, right?
It's like a I think it's charcoal and some other flavors that absorb your stomach your bile acid.
Yeah, but it tastes good.
Fruit flavored.
Yeah.
You probably got tropical.
Yeah, I don't know what I got. I probably got Union Square, San Francisco. Okay. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, that train you hear is because we're in the steels of Pittsburgh, where real men work. Burt Bridgewater here in Pittsburgh, telling you what a real man is. A real man is a man that when he's on his way to work, he's in such a rush that in order for him to get to his steel factory, he has to cross the train tracks. And when the train is coming, he doesn't stop because getting to work with his lunch pail and his hard hat is what's important. So if the train hits him and smashes him into 1,000 pieces, he just picks himself up, mushes himself back together, and gets to fucking work. All right.
This is Sunday. We are in Pittsburgh.
And it's Mother's Day.
It's Mother's Day.
Hey, big shout out to all the mothers out there, all the women out there, and big shout out to all the sons out there who, like me, get their mother lingerie for Mother's Day. So if your mama's single or if your mama's still with your daddy, make sure the bitch look good for daddy tonight.
Even
as
though
he throws the pipe in her for Mother's Day.
Even though you're hearing this 3 days after Mother's Day, and it won't make a difference.
Well, you know, niggas celebrate shit late because we got CPT time.
And it's also Suns game 4.
Oh boy, it didn't work. All right, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Suns game 4. I don't have the TV on. He's
itching. You are itching.
The
man.
game is just starting. I'm in my Mitchell Ness hat,
Phoenix Suns shirt.
I'm ready to go, but I'm going to be checking the scores every now and then. Geez, I want this game, but it doesn't make. If we don't get it, it's okay. We'll still be 2-2 going back home. Still have home court advantage, but it'd be nice to get.
I am sitting next to Phoenix Suns version of Bobby Patterson. This motherfucker's itching. All right, on this podcast, the meat of what we want to talk about is winning time. Matter of fact, today is the last episode, which Andy and I will view, obviously, when we get home. But I opened the bag, and I ate, 99.9% of the chips because I felt like if I at least watched 9 of the 10 episodes, there'd be more than enough to discuss. And, we know what happens in the 10th fucking episode. They play the goddamn Sixers, and Magic wins the game without Kareem, and we know what it is, but it's time to talk about it. Plus, we also have to address the GOAT of comedy being rushed on stage. And then I have a airplane story I want to tell Andy because I need to get his opinion.
Which one are you doing first? Which one are we doing? The airplane story?
Should we do Dave? I mean,
yeah, let's do Dave.
All right.
Because
I don't really have much on this, man. I only, when I posted it, the only thing I said was, I wonder if, and I'm hoping it's not the case, but I wonder if this is somebody with an LGBTQ cause, some fucking motherfucker loose in the noodle who wanted to make a point and use this as some sort of protest. But and again, this was hot off the presses. So I said, contextually, I need more context before I can figure out what to say here, because I assumed that's what it was. This was right when it happened. But as the days went on and more got revealed, that wasn't the case. This is just some nutbag who, for some reason, wanted to be famous off of Dave's time and name.
And I think Dave realized that almost immediately because the way he went after it, which I thought was fantastic. And but man, when I started reading all the media posts, and you know what? I congratulate you because you didn't. Yeah, because when you did your post, you said what you thought it could be, but you said you needed more.
I needed more context.
Man, I started reading these other people's the other posts,
and I got slammed for some of that. A couple people went, "See, why would you assume?" And this is why, like with Prabha Baba, I be wanting to backhand some of you motherfuckers. Comprehension. I love when people comment on what I post. Did you read the fucking caption? I said I needed more context. I didn't want to assume, but I thought it could have been.
That was your initial first thought, and you understand why that would. I think everybody who understands the problem that Dave and the LGBTQ plus community have had back and forth. That you could that could be a possibility. It could be a possibility. That would be a leap that you made, but you said, "But I need more. I'm not going to put this on them until I get more." Yes. I thought that was appropriate.
And even Dave jokingly at the moment went, "That was a trans man."
Yeah. So
even he knew where the joke was.
So all that was fine. But when I started reading this, and then people made it Donald Trump, and then they made it racial. Yeah.
How was Trump involved?
Because apparently he had some rap song and that he was pro-Trump in this rap song that he had on.
Stop.
Listen, guys, if we're going to make everything racial, let me ask you this. Aries, when you go to the market, did you notice there's do you buy eggs? Do you ever buy eggs? Did you notice the eggs are always white eggs?
I've seen brown eggs.
Make brown eggs. The brown eggs all over the country.
Yeah.
Chickens make brown eggs.
Yeah.
I think it's a racial ploy to say that the inception of people only happened from white eggs.
Hey, man, I was raised on white eggs. All I knew is white eggs. I ain't about to switch up my goddamn eggs now.
All I'm saying is I think if we turn over every single thing in this room, I can find something racial about every single thing.
Absolutely.
So, guys, I understand that there is some jump. And I also want to say that Donald Trump is an easy target to put your picture on. And I know people are going to say because of the past things that I've said on here. And I've already said, not a Trump fan, but it's too easy to blame it on one person. This is a cultural situation that we have to all work our way through. And you can't just make it race and Trump because that doesn't work. It doesn't change anything. Doesn't affect anything. Obviously, when I saw that, I kind of laughed, but kind of was disappointed again.
Right.
And what it turns out, I did read as much as I could about this before the podcast. Dave actually was able, and from what I understand from this article that I read, Dave was able to get able to meet with the person that attacked him that night after he was in jail, and because he wanted to talk to him, he wanted to know. And you know what, guys? Sometimes shit happens because people are crazy.
They beat the brakes off that nigga.
He had to because he was crazy.
Dave had a team of Mac Mittens, nigga.
Crazy, just as crazy.
Dude, I just would have went up to dude and go, "What the fuck were you thinking? Why did you do that?"
He wanted to be famous, and I think that's why Dave wants this dropped. A lot of people are talking about, again, we made it racial. If this was a white comic, this is Jerry Seinfeld, would we? I really believe, and this is from what I've read. It wasn't said this, but you have to put context. You get context clues, and you put it together. Dave does not want this person getting famous off what he did.
Right.
And I think more than anything it is to get this guy. That's why I'm not bringing up the guy's name. That's why we're going to dismiss him. I don't want anybody getting famous because if the thing is, there's two parts to this. If he isn't held accountable, everybody's going to do this. The other thing is, if he gets famous, everybody who wants a little bit of fame is going to do this. So there's a balance to this.
Right.
And I think that his before and his after shot after he fucked with Dave, and the fact that he isn't going to get famous, and that there is some consequences, but it's going to be minor. No one's going to follow it because it's not going to be a big deal case. I applaud Dave for being a person of thought and really putting effort into this, not just reacting. And
see, that's why Dave is better than me and most, because my natural gut instinct would have been to press charges on this motherfucker, make him pay for what he did. But Dave seems to always be able to find the underneath the surface for some other layer that I guess most people wouldn't think about.
Yeah, I just think that he wants this guy. I would not, if I was him, I would not want this guy getting any fame off of my name.
Right.
So that's where we are. Not a big conversation about Dave.
Yeah.
But I do want to protect comedians because I happen to be one of them, and I don't want to be attacked on stage. And I even said that the other night when I was in, where were we? Fort Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
When I said to the dude, I was asking about his jacket, and actually he was late, and I wasn't making fun of his jacket. I just brought out that his jacket was very star-studded in the back.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, I'm not going to fuck with you. I saw what happened. And he's on my, you don't think about this because you think you're on stage. You can see everybody coming at you. The dude actually sits behind you. You know, some of the people, when you're on that edge seat, you don't see them.
Right.
That dude could easily, and I'm not saying he would, but anybody can do that.
Well, you'd be warned because everybody would go, oh.
Yeah, but by the time you turn around, you'd also be warned with the fucking fist in your face.
Right.
So yeah, I don't want that to happen at all, and I want people to be protected. And I was very highly disappointed that more than anything else because of the size of the show, the people that were on the show. This wasn't just Dave. There was many comics there. There was many musicians and actors. Right. What was up with the security there?
Yeah, somebody was lacking.
So, we have a lot to talk. We don't have a lot to talk about in this podcast about it, but there's a lot that could have been done and should be done, and I hope the people that are in charge of that are talking about it.
Now, kudos to Chris Rock for 2 great comments.
The best comments.
The one was when it happened, he goes, "Was that Will Smith?" But 2, that nigga just recently said, "I got bitch slapped by the softest nigga in rap." Me and Andy mentioned this to me yesterday when we were here in Pittsburgh. If he would have said that on Oscar night, wow.
I mean, it doesn't come to you because you're freaking out about what just happened and you're trying to hold it together.
But man.
But if he could have got that out there, Will Smith, done forever. Put him in an envelope and send it away.
Yeah.
It would have been over.
See, and this is why I go, listen, I know you've heard me say often, I understand Chris Rock's brilliance. He just don't make me laugh. He's brilliant. It's fucking brilliant. You know, but I just hear Chris Rock's voice. I got hit by the hottest, softest nigga in rap. But, you know, a style. But he's genius, though.
But do you know, nothing, I don't want to get deep into this, but have you seen Chris work a new hour?
Yeah.
He doesn't use any of the Chris Rock. He doesn't do that voice.
Right.
He works.
Those are the finishing touches.
Yeah, that's right. The criticisms that he throws on.
Once he gets it done. Yeah.
He works the material so that it's funny. But I can see what you're saying as a comic. That extra that he puts on can be distracting and move you from the joke.
Yes.
So I get it.
Now here's my airplane story. Now, Andy, before I tell you the story, I need to let you. My question to you will be this: was this a race thing or just an asshole thing? So here's the general rule when you're sitting in first class, and it's obviously 2 people, you and the guy next to you. Whoever gets to the seat first, you know, you can you're supposed to put your bag underneath the seat in front of you. So you got a space underneath you on your left side. He has a space underneath his right side. But then there's the middle. There's a space in the middle. The general rule is whoever sits down first, if you put your bag there, you got dibs. Because now that allows you to have nothing but leg room underneath the seat in front of you. Same thing with the window. Whoever sits in the window controls the shade. So I put my bag underneath the middle, and the white guy sitting next to me, he kind of had a snobbish attitude to begin with. I could sense it. He put his feet underneath his right side. So about 2 hours into the flight, with an hour left, I was dozing and out of sleep. So I wake up to take my medicine. So I grab my bag from underneath the middle, get my medicine, and when I go to put my bag back, he sticks his left leg in the middle. So I go, my man, I don't want to hit your leg. I'm trying to put my bag back. He goes, why don't you put it on your side? I said, well, wait a minute. The general rule is, and I broke it down to him, whoever gets the middle you get the middle. If you would have got here first and you put your bag there, I respectfully know I got to keep my bag underneath my seat now. He goes, well, my leg is here now, man. He goes, if you want, I could take your bag and put it up top. And before I answered him, because I was about to we was getting heated, me and the dude. And I'm like, all right, man, think. If you cause a scene and your shit get crazy, you won't be able to fly. And that's fucking with your money. So you can't do that. If you create a scene and people get wind of it, here come the camera phones. Now it's a story. Aries Spears, blah, blah, blah. And we don't want that either. But I'm also pridefully going.
I'm listening.
I also pridefully am going, I I don't want to give up and surrender to this asshole. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna let him put my bag up. But I purposely said it like this. Yeah, you can put it up. Just so he knew. And he put it up. And for the rest of the hour of the flight, I'm trying to let this go. And I'm trying to not let this bother me. But it's bothering me because I felt like I surrendered to this motherfucker. Now, look, black people, I notice sometimes when we get angry and frustrated, we do lean on race. And I'm just sitting here going, this motherfucker. And I'm going, was it racial? He's like, who this nigga gonna take up the middle? Man, fuck that. I'm in first class. Yeah, he in first class too, but this nigga think he gonna just, or was it just him being an asshole?
It was him being an asshole. But because here's the thing.
It was one out there, white privilege.
No, this is just him being a first class asshole.
Okay.
And I'll break it down for you even further about the seats in first class.
Right.
The reason there's 3 compartments in the seat is because the seats are wider and they need to put a third peg in there so that the seat for the airline safety, however it's set up, they needed that other peg. So that's why there's 3. Otherwise, why wouldn't there just be one in the middle and there'd be 2 seats? Two storage spaces there. They needed it for whatever the support is, whatever the airline people at aviation determined it needs to be in there. When his seat, was he by the window?
No, I'm by the window.
Okay, by the window, that one should be open all the way. That like your bag fits under there. His bag really doesn't fit on that other side.
On the right side.
Because that
I
one's
never noticed that. It is a little tighter.
Yeah, so it doesn't
Right.
fit. So usually, though, what people will do, if they're smart people or kind people or any kind of person, would see your bag in the middle, because a lot of people do put it in the middle because it's a bigger space.
Right.
Say, hey, man, I want to be able to put my feet there. Can we put it over there? Or can I throw it up there for you? And just
Right.
be cool about it. Be like, just for the space, man. Do you mind?
Right.
Do you mind? Not just, if you had a problem with it, this is where people are fucked up. If you have a problem with something, say something. Be cool about it. But he should have just said to you, hey, man, I see your bag's in the middle. Brother, can I put it up there for you? Because I got to stretch out, man.
Right.
And I don't have a lot of, I just need that space because this little space over here barely fits my foot. What would you say to that situation? Yo, man.
Well, that goes a long way. Kindness.
But he was a first class asshole. That was the problem. And I was on the plane the other day. And the reason I really feel like I am connected with this story is I was on the plane the other day and the dude, I had my foot in there and the dude did basically the same thing. He goes, hey, can I put my, do you mind if I put my bag in the middle there? Because my foot was over there. And I said, my space over here is real small. You can see that. And I said, can I just throw it up on the top for you? Do you mind? So I can stretch my feet out. And he goes, oh, cool, man. He goes, yeah, I don't need my bag. And we just put a bag up there. People don't talk. People don't assume that the person next to him they can have a civil conversation with. He should have just said something to you. He didn't have to
And here was the crazy part. He put his bag underneath the seat that would have been the middle space. So his bag was down there, but instead of in front in the middle, it was underneath in the middle. So then I'm thinking, well, damn, motherfucker, why didn't you put your bag up there?
He should have put his bag up there then he would have had all the space. Now I think he's an asshole. I don't know. He could have been, it could be racial, but why?
My gut was it wasn't.
But
I just was, my angry black man made me feel like I'm sitting in first, you sitting in first, but somehow you can have the space, but I can't, and I was here first, and that's the unsaid rule?
Yeah, that is, but that's how, and your other rule, though, that I like, too, that people don't understand when you get on the plane, that window, if you have the window seat,
right,
that's your window.
You control it.
You took that seat. If you want to control the window, take the window seat. I don't like the window.
Right.
I like the aisle. And I flew the other day, and it was, we left at like 4:30 in the morning or something, right. And the person on the window seat, on the back row, and I was in first, in the back row of first class, opened their window so they could read. And it must have been like maybe even 5 because the light was just coming up.
Right.
And I was like, this bitch. But it's her fucking window.
Let me tell you, flying out, my flight left at 5:30 in the morning. So same thing. The sky's turning blue. We're flying. The lady in back of me, everybody else's window shade is down. They got the lights off in the plane. It's early. People are sleeping. Sun bright than a motherfucker. And this bitch, I'm looking back the entire time. She's looking out the window, just staring out the window for an hour plus. I'm like, bitch, what are you looking at? And I wanted to, and there was, okay, so I'm here, the window kind of in back of me, I could control because it's right there. But then her window wide open. So I pushed my thing down. Before I push that one down, I go, ma'am, can I please push this down because I got my iPad and that sun will glare off the iPad and the picture won't be as great. She said, sure. So she was nice enough. I closed it. But I really wanted to say, can you close yours too? But that's her window. So I didn't.
It is her window, but you just want to look at those people sometimes and go, have you seen outside before? You know what it looks like, right?
Right.
Take a good long look at outside, shut the window, and just imagine it for the next couple hours.
And outside at 30,000 feet, just as clouds.
I don't understand the window sometimes. I don't, but I got it. It's their window.
Right.
I dealt with it the other day, but there's an etiquette that goes on with the
Etiquette. That's the perfect word. Etiquette.
And if you need something that someone isn't providing you on the plane, and you said it best too, this is what you do for a living. You have to fly. I'm not going to risk having a problem with someone.
Right.
And you say it. All you have to do is communicate. But I had, I told you before, and I said on this podcast, when I got pulled off the plane, I didn't get pulled off by the police, but the police were waiting for me at the end. And I think it was in Kansas City. No, it might have been Sacramento. Whatever it was, we got off and the police were there just because I told the guy, that, if he keeps getting up and down, it was an exit seat and kept falling on the seat, that I was going to have a problem with him. And so he panicked. I guess someone's had a problem with him before.
Only thing I'm going to say is this. I made up in my mind, I still wasn't going to wild out, but I went, now when the plane is over, I would assume he's going to reach up because he might have felt bad for the thing and get my bag and bring it down. But if this motherfucker get my bag and chuck it or lay it down hard, I'm going to wild out. But I went, I'm not going to wild out because I'll get in trouble. But I had my fist clenched, nigga, like, nigga, this nigga chuck my bag down here or throw that shit down hard, I'm going to verbally let him have it. But he didn't. He took the bag down and he nicely put it down.
And that's not, and you should, especially if you have someone move. I've done that for other people when they had to move a seat or anything has happened. Right. I was like, can I get your bag for you? It's this one. Right. Yeah, and you're nice about it. And then I'm an asshole because I want to be off the plane as soon as possible.
Right.
I do not want to remain on there anyway. But dude, I have to stop this for a moment, man, because this ain't personal, dude.
It's just bidding. Hey there, fellas. Bobby Patterson here. You know when you're sitting at home in the middle of the night, you get that little tingly feeling in your cock, and you want to wake your girl or your wife up and throw it in her, but she's being a whole cunt and telling you no despite the fact that you paid a fucking rent? Oftentimes, we just end up frustrated because apparently the fish market is closed at 3 a.m. So you can't release the way you want, and your only resort is to beat off. So you're doing the function minus the pleasure. Where's the fun in that? Worry no more, fellas. I'm here to introduce Bobby Patterson's Love Gloves. That's right. They're specialty design gloves that you wear on both hands with Tom Brady's picture on the inside palm of the right hand and Larry Bird's picture on the inside palm of the left hand. And you wrap both hands around your cock with Bird on the base of your cock and Brady on the upper part of your cock, or vice versa. And now you get to experience two of the best purebred Anglo-Saxon Christian red-blooded white men double fist jerking and sucking you off at the same fucking time. It's fucking wicked, kid. Or if your cunt wife or girlfriend wants a snatch licked, but you're not in the mood, with the Love Gloves, you make Brady and Bird smooch your cooch. And later, when you want to see what your gal tastes like, you can kill two birds with one stone and lick the palm of your hands. That way you taste your girl, Brady and Bird, at the same fucking time. And look, if you order now for free, I'll even throw in my bitchin' mittens. They're specifically designed mittens, so when your girlfriend or your wife is just bitching, if you close your right hand and make a fist, Tom Brady's picture will appear across your knuckles. And Bird's picture will appear across your left knuckles. Then when your woman won't stop bitching, you say to her, why won't you just stop bitching? And then you pop her with the mittens. And when the cops come over and say, sir, did you hit your wife? You can say, no, officer, it wasn't me. It was Tom Brady and Larry Bird. Then the cop will say, fucking wicked, kid. But then the cop might say, why'd you hit her 3 times, says the officer. Because it's Larry Bird, kid. That's what he does. He shoots 3. So I gave her 3 shots. So there you have it, fellas. Order now to get my Bobby Patterson Love Gloves. And if you do so in the next 10 minutes, for free, you'll get the bitchin' mittens. Just call a toll-free number, 1-800-TO-DIFA. And if she don't learn to listen, she'll die because of. I gotta go.
Steve, roll those next commercials.
Yeah. All right.
Wow. I just want everybody that's writing in who enjoys your boy Bobby Patterson.
Yes.
It is Bobby. It's not Pat. It's not.
Yeah, it's Bobby.
Yeah.
It's Bobby fucking Patterson. Get the fucking name right. Jesus fucking Christ. It's not that hard to fucking do. It rhymes with Tom Brady. You hear it? Bobby Patterson. Tom Brady. What's the fucking difference? All right. Winning time. Oh boy. Dude. I said before, I don't watch much series-wise on HBO. I can't wait for season 2. This fucking thing. Episode 1, I was like, how did you feel about the tone between the mix of comedy and drama? Because clearly, it's dramatic. But what they do, tone I think the word is tone. I forgot.
Tonality.
Huh?
Tonality?
I don't know. It's tonality. It's something else. But tone-wise, they do a nice mixture of it. Breaking the fourth wall.
That's the big deal, though, that he likes to do. McKay, the producer.
Right. Like I loved in that first episode when they were describing Larry Bird and they truthfully went white. And then when describing Magic, they said black.
Those were real lines, though. Those were real headlines. Those were real comments.
So when they cut to how they tried to say Magic, but really they went black, then that's what that means. And Larry Bird, white.
When he was going naturally gifted.
Yeah.
And Larry Bird, hard worker.
Right. Oh, that was in the paper.
Those were in the paper. Those were.
Oh, okay.
They took quotes from things that were said, and there's some. This is such a great blend of comedy, a little bit of. Some of this is made up because they have to get the story across.
Right.
I mean, we're doing a story,
Right.
So there is a little bit of exaggeration to it,
Right.
but a lot of this. I mean, it's based on a true story, obviously, but a lot of this is real shit that was said.
Wow. Okay.
So,
dude, and I think this might be one of the reasons why, we talked about how Magic said he really didn't care for it. Jerry West said he really didn't care for it. And I can kind of see maybe why Jerry West wasn't a fan, because I'm like, yo, look, I don't know anything about Jerry West other than when I've seen him do interviews and do documentaries where he's commented on athletes. So to say this might be a moot point because the fact of the matter is you don't really know. But the sense, I always got the sense he was seems like a really cool, warm dude. This thing makes him look crazy.
One of the things that people have complained about. First of all, just before we go further, though, I just want to make sure that this is based on the book Showtime by Jeff Pearlman. He had a lot of access to the Lakers at the time. No one will ever get access like this in sports because most people did not like the book.
Right.
And I think when you see yourself in reality, you don't always like yourself. Now, Jerry West, I think his character they made it bigger. They made it a little bit more cartoonish to get the points across because you don't have 12 or 14 years that he played for the Lakers. And then you don't have the buildup to when he was the coach and then he left and then he became, you don't have all that. And so he does suffer. They said that he's had some mental health issues in the past and he's been open about it. But he's very dark as a person.
They made him look like a hot-blooded prick.
He isn't. He's just okay. Here's the best way that I can explain it, that I think this sums it up. Take Michael or Kobe and never let them have one championship, and kind of by accident, and see what kind of people they would be today.
Right.
They would be frustrated. They'd be angry. They didn't feel that they lived to their potential. They loved this game. I mean, Jerry West loves this game, I think, more than Michael and Kobe did put together, because he stayed in it even though this game was killing him. And there's other articles where and he's talked about his frustration for the game. He doesn't watch the games.
Really?
He doesn't watch the big playoff games. I did a little bit more research on this because I wanted to know what we were talking about when we said this and what the difference was. But in the finals, he'll take a drive, he'll walk around outside, but he won't watch it. It's too much. He believes in the teams that he builds, but I think there was a key part in there when he says, and I might be going too far, but it's within the first couple episodes when he said there is something that's not right for the team, and he said, "Don't tell me it's drafted magic,"
Right.
and he said, "No, it's me." And I think that he realized he just couldn't. That coaching wasn't going to make this team win.
Well, I like when he said, "I can't do anything for this team by screaming on the sidelines."
Yeah,
he would rather suit up.
right. And that's the other thing. I read this other article where I don't know if he said it or someone else said it that was close to him, said that he would get so frustrated with himself and mad at the players because he would send them out to do what he could do.
And they couldn't do it. Wow.
So
that reminds me of Scott Burrell in The Last Dance when he said, Michael wants people to do X, Y, and Z, but I don't think Michael knows we can't do what you do.
And that's
right.
So those comparisons, and I think it's hard too because people who are watching this today don't necessarily understand how important Jerry West was to the NBA at that time. He is the logo. He only won the one championship, but he has a big signature in the NBA. And
how does that happen? You win one title
because he won MVPs. He was one of the most talented players, but he couldn't get past. Who could they get past? Russell at the time?
Chamberlain was on his team. I think Russell, yeah.
When Chamberlain came to the team is when they won the only championship.
So 11 titles. Why not Bill Russell the logo?
Well, I think we can.
Okay.
I think
without even saying it, you know what it is.
I think we can, but honestly, guard play, and let's be honest about this. Yes, I will give you. I even nodded to the first one.
Right.
Guard play has always been sexier in the NBA than
big man play.
Big man, it's a post up position,
Right.
I'm not knocking the position. It had, but it was also it was a traditional way the game was played. I mean, who's the sexy players at the time? Pistol Pete,
Havlicek. Havlicek steals the ball.
People that moved the ball, people that were a little smaller, people that were a little swervier, people that had some, but the game honestly doesn't get good.
Hard to think the game was sexy with basic chest passes and bounce passes.
That's what I'm saying. The game didn't get good until Dr. J.
To the niggas.
Dr. J got there.
Dude, I would love, and this was fucking me up, especially in the episode where they show Norm Nixon embarrassing Magic with the white fur coat and playing basketball at the party. The whole time I'm watching this, I'm going, I gotta call Norm. Because if Jerry West didn't like it, Magic didn't like it, based on what I know about Norm Nixon, my first manager, and the dude who was like a father figure to me when he moved me to LA, Norm's never been that brash. They portrayed Norm as this loudmouth, cocky, arrogant motherfucker. Yo, Norm is from Macon, Georgia. Norm was always, when I knew him, quiet, humble, easygoing. Norm would run from drama. He didn't like drama. He didn't like tension, which is partly what didn't make him a great manager. Because in Hollywood, you got to get dirty. You got to roll your sleeves up. You got to deal with shit. And Norm was so passive. If it didn't come smooth and easy, Norm didn't fuck with it. So I'm like, okay, there's just something about this. I'm going, I would love to get Norm's info and go, Norm, was that you?
Again, from what I read, never happened.
There we go.
That's one of the more dramatizations.
That's exactly what that was.
But they were trying to convey that there was tension between the two because he was a point guard.
I could buy that.
And when they came into the team, he's the rookie. He's now the highest paid rookie. You saw in the background of the when all the other Lakers are there, how much they detest. They're not going to say I hate you, but they're mad at him. He's making more money.
Right.
He thinks he's the face of the team already.
He's a hot shot. He's talented.
He's a young kid that's happy, and most of all, he's happy.
Right.
You notice no one's happy.
Right.
And so I think that's what they were trying to get, is that there was tension, and there was always tension between the two of them, and that's what they were trying to
Yeah,
convey.
man, because I'm sitting there watching this shit, and now I could kind of know or see why someone would get upset when your personality or who you are as a human being is being portrayed as something you're not. And I just went, dude, if this was Norm for real, that's a hell of a switch to go from that to eventually this, which anybody can change. But I'm going, the Norm I knew, this is bullshit.
No,
Norm was never that kind of guy.
No, and they said that he never had that kind of attitude. That wasn't the attitude. There was tension between the two, but that wasn't the attitude.
Yeah, he wasn't no cocky nigga and with my shirt chest all open because I got my shirt buttoned down to the navel and I'm sexy. And the way he was talking to Magic in the limo on the premiere to the movie, The Fish That Saved Pittsburgh, that ain't Norm, dog. And I forgot Norm was in that movie and he told me that. Did you ever see that movie?
No, I never saw it.
I never saw it either.
But again, you have to create some tension or the movie or this show isn't going to make sense. And you can't.
Even at lying?
A little, there was little tensions between the two. You can't, how are you going to show, if someone fucks with you, like that guy, that's not a big deal. We're talking about the dude on the plane today.
Right.
So if that's the scene, is that the movie? No. You have to create
I
more.
hear you.
You have to create more tension. And they try basically to put it in one big pill so that you get the idea.
Norm playing a nigga in a fur coat. Get the fuck out of here.
In Los Angeles.
Norm wouldn't even own a fur coat.
Yeah. So yeah,
he's a country boy from Macon.
That they did get into that wasn't that's really just about to show what they were going through at the time.
Okay, here's where the waters might get a little deep. So they showed Kareem at the crib with his white woman. And I know Kareem at one point was with a black woman too, but he definitely was a white woman because he got mixed kids. If you're a Muslim and the rule is supposed to be you don't fuck with the white man's woman, like in Denzel and Malcolm X, I will not touch the white man's drugs. I will not touch the white man's blah, 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 blah. You don't eat pork. You don't fuck with white women. You don't do drugs. And at one point, they show Kareem, and I forget who the other player was. I want to say it was Michael Cooper. And then, Spencer Haywood. And they're both splitting a cigarette. And I'm like, I don't know if it was cigarette.
It was a weed.
Weed.
Yeah.
Okay, but don't that go against...
I think it was weed.
Okay, it was weed, or if it's tobacco or weed.
Yeah, it's still a drug.
That's going against the Muslim shit.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to fuck with white women, eat pork, and do any kind of narcotics or toxicants, alcohol. So how serious was Kareem?
Where you see in there where he goes back to the mosque and he's saying that he's having trouble, that he hasn't, he was just going through the motions. He wasn't feeling, the Muslim religion the way that he did before. Right. And it wasn't calling to him the same way. And so that I think as a human, we go through these struggles. I don't think that it was, I don't think it's so outlandish. The only thing that was weird about it to me is I don't know if, I hate to say that someone had drug use, even if it's weed, when that might seem hypocritical because they don't want other people to do drugs. So that was, I didn't know if it was cigarette, but usually you're not splitting a cigarette. Usually it would be weed then. So
right.
If that's what they're saying, I don't know. And I couldn't find anything about that. And Kareem's a hard one to find things on outside of what he says.
Right.
Because he doesn't give interviews. He didn't talk to people the same way.
Which brings me to the next point. When I get into these debates with some of you guys and people on the internet and social media about the GOAT, and I say Jordan, LeBron, whatever, people throw in Kobe, you say what you want. Often people will say Bill Russell if it's about rings, or they say Kareem's the GOAT. And I keep saying to you guys, this word totality, the ingredients for GOAT is a bunch of different ingredients. Totality. And the reason why Kareem is not the GOAT was because he was standoffish. He had a horrible attitude. He didn't talk to the press. And at one point, he was the face of the NBA. Coming from Milwaukee and then becoming a Laker when he was Lou Alcindor. But by the time he got to the Lakers, he was such a dominant force. He was the face of the league. But he didn't transform the league because he was elusive. He didn't talk to the press. He was an asshole. So yes, Kareem stat-wise is a beast. But Michael took the game global because Michael, and no fault to Kareem, but Michael came in an era, even before social media, but television, cable, and took the game global. Kareem did not have that kind of impact. So, yeah, Kareem is one of the best. But in terms of totality, he's not the GOAT.
Well, there's one other thing that you forgot when you're doing the totality, and that's will to win.
Why you say that? Because in the show they made it.
He couldn't. He won in Milwaukee, but he had at the time probably the best point guard at the time. In
Oscar
Milwaukee.
Robertson.
He had Norm Nixon.
For a little bit.
Yeah. But he needed Magic to win.
But I also love in winning time when that moment between Magic and Kareem, and you could tell, and even in other interviews where I've seen Magic talk about the famous story about how he jumped in his arms and said, Rookie said, we got 82 more games. You make that shot 82 more times, I'm gonna jump in your arm 81 more times. So Magic, he not kiss his ass, but he loved Kareem. He said he just worshiped him. He was happy to bring him the paper and the orange juice. But he also argued with Kareem about, hey, man, you're not running back on offense, man. You want to get the ball in the spot that you want it in instead of cutting to the basket where I can get it to you. And obviously, Kareem eventually came around because winning produces happiness. But he checked Kareem.
Well, yeah, Kareem. And you see it in the show where he was struggling with who he was as a human. And is that what he was? Is that what he wanted his legacy to be? That he was a guy who played a game? I mean, I had a friend who played in the NBA. I'm going to say he was a friend. He was an acquaintance, a friend. At one point, he was a friend. I think he had a really hard time. He's no longer alive. And I'm not going to even talk about who he is and what it is. But I think that he, especially in college, struggled with who he was. And he was black. And I think that being a black man in this country and playing basketball and you're tall, it's just like, that's what you do. And he didn't want to be part of that's what you do.
Right.
He had more to offer the world, and he didn't want to be subjugated to that position.
Right.
And I think if you're very aware of who you are as a human and you struggle with things like that, I think it can take you out of the game. And from what I read too, he was reintroduced to the love of basketball because of Magic.
And winning. Right. Magic could have been Magic all day. If they ain't winning, you're in a miserable situation.
But that is also said in here in winning time. Magic, if these guys only understood, I can get them in the ball in places they never imagined.
Yeah. One of the best at it. The best at it.
And when he's talking about Bird and how his point total isn't as high as Bird's, but he goes, but my point total is still this high, but I have all these assists because I love how they did that part. I want to share the love. Yeah. I want to move the ball around.
Right.
I want to.
Right.
It was a different mentality to the game as well. Magic's mentality of the game, and why when I go into a draft, like when we did it on the podcast, who's your first pick? Right. My pick is always Magic.
Right.
I think Michael Jordan is the best of all time, but if I'm drafting, I'm drafting Magic first because Magic, if I have the next pick and someone else takes Jordan, then I take Kobe. And if I can have Magic get Kobe the ball wherever it works best for him, I want that combination. If I can get Jordan and Magic on the same team, then I'll take that combination. Right. But this is how the game is played, and it's not necessarily who's the best when we're just talking about the game in the totality.
Right.
We're talking about winning.
Yeah.
Magic is the dude who can make that happen. And so that's why I never have put Kareem. I put him always in my top 5, but is he the GOAT? I mean, could you take Wilt Chamberlain and win with Wilt Chamberlain and Magic?
Listen, as much as I respect Kareem, if you said to me, pick one between Kareem, Hakeem, Russell, Wilt, Shaq, who else can you throw? Patrick Ewing, David Robinson. Dude, Shaq's my first pick. A young Shaq, my first pick. I'm always over Kareem.
My first pick is either it's
Hakeem.
It's between the two, Hakeem or Kareem. And I even hate saying them together because it always it's a tongue twister for me. But those, I mean, I would say it would be Kareem. The only problem with it is you have which Kareem are you going to get? The one who bonds with the team or the one who could be a little divisive with the team? You know, the one who runs the plays? Because the other thing too, when we're talking about Kareem at his height in the Lakers, he wasn't coming up anymore.
Right.
You get Hakeem and he's running the floor with the Magic, with the Jordan. I mean, if I'm just putting together my A team, how can you beat that? And I know you like Shaq, But Shaq couldn't run the floor all the time like that. Now, Shaq had some handles too.
Yeah, they showed a couple clips. Shaq brought the ball up and finished.
But it's he's a bigger guy. He couldn't take the pounding I wouldn't want to watch him pound up and down the court like that every single play. Hakeem's built a little different.
And here's one more, another ingredient in GOAT totality: impact. Listen, to this day, the most unguardable shot in basketball, skyhook.
Yeah.
Does anybody imitate that shot? How many players have we seen do Michael Jordan's patented turnaround fadeaway? Kobe, LeBron, players imitate that shot. Who imitates the hook shot? No one.
That wasn't his shot, though.
Whose was it?
Mikan's.
George Mikan?
White dude from the beginning of basketball. It was an unblockable shot, yeah. But Kareem mastered the shot, made the shot look good.
Well, that's what niggas do.
Because
we take something, it's like that dude that was on the Instagram with the salt. How he does the salt sprinkle with his arm up. Niggas take shit and remix it.
But
we make it better.
And honestly, Kareem's is the best looking one. Because you saw Magic when he does his little hook
shot, yeah.
It never looks like Kareem's.
Right.
Kareem had like a ballet dancer's release at the top, at the highest point, and he's using just his wrist and his fingers to make that shot work.
Right.
But there was two other players. It was Mikan and there's another player that had that shot before him. But when he was in college, that's where all this is. Wooden is, was probably spiritually and mentally and of basketball. He was like, he's the Lord of basketball.
Right.
And so he had a big influence in how they played the game, and Kareem looked at the game differently. I could do an hour on Kareem because I like the dude. I really like the dude. And what doesn't get said, because he, like you said, he was a dick. He was a dick to reporters. He wasn't
have you ever heard the story? Norm told me this story. Kareem was at a restaurant and a fan comes over to ask for autograph, and Kareem took the pen and the pad and chucked it across the restaurant.
He was at a restaurant eating.
Okay. We just did the plain story.
Yes.
There's niceness.
Yes, there
you
can.
can dismiss somebody without going, yeah, give me that. What? And throwing it across the restaurant and making that person feel like shit. Unless the person was an asshole.
I get that. And yes, he did have his, I'm sure there's things that he regrets today that he did back then.
Right.
But at the, what he has done, and he hasn't, because of that personality, he never got the opportunity to coach. I think he would have been a great coach. Like he was he came from the wooden tree. Yeah. And he had his own perspective on the game, and he also had skills that no one else has ever had. I think he would have been a great coach, but he did coach in Arizona, and he coached, I'm trying to remember the name of this documentary that he did, but he.
I just watched it on Minority One.
I can't.
On the Shoulders of Giants. That ain't it. I just fucking watched it. The Kareem documentary, right?
Yeah, where he's out there and he's coaching.
I just watched it.
He's coaching, and I don't know what tribe that he was, or if it was just Native American. I don't know what it was. But he coached, and he was out there. He was part of this on his own. He wasn't like making money and trying to make this documentary. It came up because he was already doing this. He is part of a community. He does give back to basketball. He gives back to his community. He's not that. He gets such a bad rap because.
And to defend Kareem a little bit, he came up in that era with Russell, where the '60s and racism and I'm sure that didn't help.
No.
Him, because of the fucking famous funny clip where the white reporter asked Kareem, there's a tribe in Africa where men are as tall as you. Will you be going there? Kareem just went, no, I will not. Like, Jesus, to put up with that kind of shit.
No, it's understandable why he was who he is, but I think people owe him to represent him how he is today as well. Because he didn't get a fair shot after basketball to do more in the league.
Right.
But Magic did, Magic.
Dude, I had to put this on my list of things to do. When Jerry Buss told the one dude, have you ever had a blowjob with a woman with champagne in her mouth? I said, put that on the list. I've never had that. Let me see what that do. But Jerry, I wonder who had a bigger appetite for pussy, Magic or Jerry?
Jerry's time was safer. So
Yeah.
and Jerry was good friends with Hugh Hefner,
Right.
so he had complete access.
He loved him some ass, man.
I think it might be Jerry.
He introduced that boy from Lansing to all that Hollywood pussy.
Yeah, Jerry had a good thing going on there. Yeah. You never had, I love how he says it though.
Yeah.
Because, let's talk about just for a second about John C. Reilly and how awesome,
Right.
the way he says it. When he said, have you ever had it with a little champagne in the mouth? It's amazing. There's no John C. Reilly there. That's like,
Dude, I have it later in my notes towards the end because I actually text you about the moment. So I'll just bring it up now since we're talking about it. Casting wise, the dude playing Magic, he resembles Magic, especially when he smiles. Fucking Kareem is great. But John C. Reilly, the scene where his mother's dying and they're on the pool and she's talking to him and his eyes start to water. I almost get choked up. I forgot it was John C. Reilly at that moment. I went, this is Jerry Buss. And listen, John C. Reilly is mostly known for his comedies. All the comedy movies he's not just comedies, but even in Boogie Nights, where it wasn't a comedic movie, but he was funny.
he was the lighter character.
He does that well. Yo, dramatic wise, this nigga got me. And I went, yo, this ain't, I don't see John C. Reilly. I'm looking at fucking Jerry Buss.
There's one moment that I saw him in the whole series that I saw a little glimpse of a John C. Reilly, but
Right.
the rest of the time he had me, and I was looking, but see, this is unfair too, because I'm looking for it. I'm like, let me see if there's a crack in this armor, because I was
Right.
like, he did such a great job. Dude, this is unfortunate, but this is the relationship that ended because Will, what's his name? Will, who's the other actor that wanted this Jerry Buss scene, the Jerry Buss part?
Oh, Will Ferrell?
Yeah, Will Ferrell wanted this. He was
I would have saw Will Ferrell the whole time.
Will Ferrell was originally the person that they shopped this with, and they never, and McKay who took it over, he didn't want Will Ferrell, even though they're best friends. They had their production team. They made a bunch of movies.
What a horrible choice.
He didn't want Will for it. He wanted, there's some other actor that's unnamed that I don't know who it is.
Right.
But his other choice is his second choice was John C. Reilly. Third would have been Will. But and it cost him the relationship. It cost him their company.
Wow.
Because this is something that he really wanted to do. But I got to say, when the very first episode, when I saw John C. Reilly and I heard him talking, that very first scene, I'm like, nah, this was the right call, because that otherwise
It's so the right call. For me to be convinced Will could have pulled that off, he would have had to dig to a place that I didn't even think was humanly possible. Because Will is just so, nah, man. John C. Reilly sold the fuck out of this. Those scenes with his mom, dude, I'm telling you, I got goosebumps. I teared up because Sally Field is a beast, and to match someone who can play tennis with you like that, acting tennis. That was Sampras and McEnroe.
I just feel like he got the character, and I'm sure Will spent a lot of time with Buss. I'm sure that he would have been able to get the character. I don't think he looks enough like him
At all.
I think that John C. Reilly just hit every note, was fucking right. To me, just amazing. It was amazing to see that.
This is why I said, and this is where people will say sometimes that I'm a hater. When I said, if you're going to portray someone in a movie or on TV, you have to leave zero room for doubt. And when I go, John C. Reilly left no room for doubt. Mike Epps is Richard Pryor? No. Dude, I'm telling you, and I always said I thought Mike could pull it off because there's something about Mike that's kind of Pryor-esque in the street level that he comes from. But when I was watching it, I'm going, it feels like Mike's trying to do an impression. Whereas I go, Jamie Foxx as Ray, no doubt. Jamie Foxx as Boudini Brown, no doubt. Chadwick Boseman as James Brown, Angela Bassett as Tina Turner, no doubt. Will Smith is Ali. Yeah, man. You doubt. You were Ali at times you were Will Smith. Dude, it felt like Epps was doing an impression. I didn't buy it.
I don't want to like just shit on it.
I'm not trying to shit on Mike.
No, I know you're not trying to shit on him. I'm talking about the performance. I mean, I'm not trying to, and I'm not saying that you're shitting on the performance either, but I'm not trying to do that. I'm going to say that there's some iconic characters that you just, especially for us, that you just know too much about for someone that I know to play that character in front of me. I don't know Bus that way. So John C. Reilly can play Bus, and what I know, the few interviews that I've seen, his face is walking around.
Right.
Yeah, I can get into that. I know Pryor. I know Pryor's movements. I know how he talks. I know how, you know what? I've never been around Pryor. I know how he smells. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
So when he plays that, I would need someone to come from someone I don't know to play him so that I don't see that person coming through. It would have to be someone unknown. That's the only way I think I could watch someone play.
Yeah,
Pryor.
and again, I remember me, you, my man, God rest his soul, great Puerto Rican brother, comedian, my man, Angel, forget his, fuck me, I'm so sorry, out of New York. He passed away.
Oh yeah.
I remember we had that conversation about who could play Pryor, and we said, I think you got to go with an unknown, because if you go with a comic, and that was the challenge, you have to deliver the look, but you also have to deliver the humor. And who better than a comedian to deliver a comedian? But the problem is, where do you find a comedian that can look like Pryor, become Pryor, but they can act? And if you go with a no-name because the comedian can't act, okay, you might got an actor that could look like him and give the personality, but what about the jokes, the timing? That's a hell of a combination you got to put together.
Yeah. But the lines that he delivered to Magic,
Right.
I think are great lines.
Right.
When you, I can't quote it, but when you're going to fuck with those white people, your name.
Yeah. Yeah. I know what you mean.
That was all good.
That was good, but Godfrey does a better impression.
Yeah.
But Godfrey don't look shit like Richard Pryor. But I could hear Godfrey delivering that. Hey, man, I can't do a Richard Pryor, but the way Godfrey does Pryor, it would be like Godfrey doing Steve Harvey. Does Godfrey look like Steve Harvey? Hell no. But damn it, the impression is 1,000%.
Yeah. It's a tough one, and it's tougher for us than it is for other people that are going to be watching this. But he did a job that I'm not mad at him for doing. But it's not out of all the casting, that one you go, that could have been.
I heard from the grapevine that somebody wanted Mike to play Pryor in this as a test to see how people would respond. Because if he did a phenomenal knock the ball out the park job, then the movie's coming. If people didn't respond well, then that's a lot of production money to waste. And that's going to be a big movie because that's the most iconic comedian in comedy ever. And I think a lot of people kind of felt about it.
You know, I think it needs to be an actor. That it's not about the funny to me. It's about the balance between the hatred and insanity and the love and the reality that Richard Pryor went through.
Yes, but when you have to show the scenes of him on stage, can an actor deliver comedy?
Depends how good of an actor they are.
I don't know if there's enough good acting in the world. Comedy is its own respectable beast.
I'm going to tell you, and this year I know we're going to disagree on this, but there's a show on Prime, and it's that Mrs. Maisel, and I always just assumed that the person playing her was a comedian because she does a great job as this comedian. Timing, comedy, right. You know, it's a dramatization. Right. I don't believe it because obviously she just goes up and she does her bits and she wasn't whatever. But she's an actress and she didn't want to take the part because she's not a comedian. And they had comedians up there and she took the part and she plays the shit out of the part. Like I believed that she was a comic until I found out different.
But she's not playing a real person though.
No, that makes it much different. But I don't think anybody's going to play up to that level. of who Richard Pryor is.
That is such a big challenge.
I'd rather believe the life and struggle than the comedy. I've heard the albums.
But the thing is, you cannot show one without the other.
Right.
And that's like doing a movie about Michael Jordan with no basketball scenes.
But if I'm going to miss, well, we're going to come up to that too, because like you just said, the dude who plays Dr. J, I think that's a bigger miss than
that
that
angers me.
Because there's so many other ways they could have filmed that and done some of that looked exactly like Dr. J and just did some Photoshop on the poster.
Right.
Because that poster doesn't look like Dr. J. And whoever made the wigs for Dr. J, there's some shitty wigs for Dr. J. You wait, everything. I'm not going to shit on anything in this movie, except in the show, except for this Dr. J, that wig.
Again, like the kids would say, no homo. But again, Dr. J was smooth. Dr. J had smooth features like Brad Pitt. He had clean features. He wasn't Shabba Ranks in the face. It wasn't aggressive. He was smooth. Women wanted him. The nigga knew how to dress. He was the epitome of cool.
His name was Doctor.
Swagger. And this guy playing him, dude, your face is not smooth. It's not swagger. It's not cool. You look aggressive in the face. It's distracting.
It just was that's my only questionable thing. Really, I'll accept Mike Epps as Pryor.
Right.
I'm not going to be mad at that. I cannot the Dr. J one. And what's funny is we've agreed on this, and we tried our hardest not to talk about this.
Right.
But that was one we didn't let go at first. That was the one. But we fought a lot about Riley before you saw it.
Well, look. And I put in my notes, when he first showed Riley, I'm like, dude, I can't get past this nigga's beak. Like, where his nose, dude, is aggressive, man. It's that beak. Again, Riley is another dude. Smooth. He was on the cover of GQ. He was known as the glamorous, sexy coach. Armani suits, slick back, Wall Street hair, Gordon Gekko.
That's Gordon Gekko is actually, when they were setting up the movie, that's who they looked at for the idea of Gordon Gekko.
More to my point, Riley was a smooth motherfucker. And I'm just going, Adrian Brody's nose, dude, is aggressive. And the mustache didn't help.
No, not at first.
But when he shaved the mustache and they show him in the mirror kind of pulling his hair back, I went, oh, okay.
Did you see?
This might be a Batman. What was his name? Robert Pattinson.
Pattinson. Did you
moment.
But did you ever see pictures of Riley before with the mustache and when he was?
Yeah,
he looked goofy.
He looked 70s appropriate.
It's funny though because him and who was the coach of the Bulls?
Phil Jackson.
Both hippies. Both had both just this kind of alt idea of life.
Right.
And they're both kind of out there. And they both became these. I make a straight. I know.
Well, Phil Jackson, hippie, yes. But Riley was from Schenectady, New York. And he was scrappy and tough.
Yes.
He was physical.
But he was in LA kind of doing the
He became that.
And trying to find himself kind of guy.
Right.
Because he has, and it's true, he has the championship and he doesn't know what he's going to do after basketball. Riley did not know what he was going to do. The idea that guy could have been wasted away next to Chick Hearn.
And that's another one. I want to stay on Riley, but again, from what we knew, from what I saw, Chick Hearn seemed like the nicest guy in the world. They made him look like a dick in this.
They make him look like a racist in this.
Dude, and listen, there was a moment, I remember when young Kobe was with Shaq and the Lakers, with Nick Van Exel was the point. And Chick Hearn's commentating the game. And at one point he said, the way he went up there and got that rebound, he looked like a little monkey. He just snatching a banana. And of course, there was some flack, but he 1,000% apologetically, genuinely was like, I swear to God, I didn't mean it that way. I was only saying because, I got kids, grandkids, and sometimes they act like little monkeys. So I meant it in that way. Now, this was before I saw Winning Time. And I went, you know what? I believe Chick. I believe that there are some white guys, that's why I was saying, dick or racist, that genuinely make a mistake. They genuinely make mistakes. Now listen, I know white folks how slick y'all motherfuckers could be. And I know a lot of times it ain't a mistake. But from what I knew about Chick, he just didn't seem like that kind of guy.
But I don't think that he liked things that he didn't understand. Like if you asked him,
Old white folk thinking.
yes, and I think that's who he is. I do think that's who he is because the comment on Kareem about, that's in there when they said trading Kareem, and they go, well, he said something about, yeah, you should trade, and about his being, I think he said something, I don't want to misquote it because I'm not trying to put this on Chick, but a lot of this is coming from this book. So this guy who's been around the Lakers has heard real talk from people. And I'm not saying he is or he isn't. I'm just saying I'm more apt to believe that he was an old white man with old white man views. And yes, we all progress especially as we are, I'm going to use the entanglements, as we have entanglements with each other.
Right.
We all progress and we learn a little bit more about each other's culture. We learn about who we are. And I think Chick is part of that because, when Chick was around, the talk was at this particular time, the Lakers, the problem with basketball is
too many blacks.
So that, and if you're a white guy who's like basketball and you've been in basketball and that's the problem, you're probably going to voice some of those things.
I thought it was crazy. And I love that ESPN 30 for 30, the Lakers and Celtics best of enemies, that 3-part documentary when Maxwell, I forget the guy's first name, but Maxwell, who played for the Celtics, said that at one point in the fucking newspaper, they described the Knicks as the New York Knickerbockers. This is a fucking major publication. That openly racist.
And I hate to say this because this is the only way I can say it because I don't want to put this on the whole city, but it's Boston.
It's fucking wicked, kid.
So you believe it.
Right. Jesus. And this is why I'm really, obviously I think they're going to go for a season 2.
I think they have to.
They have to because there's so much meat on the bone.
They got to go into the Bird.
Yeah, you got the rivalry, of course, explaining more when he got the HIV. Maybe later in Magic's career when Riley left and he had the new squad with Vlade Divac and Byron Scott.
Yeah.
Worthy.
I think it ends when he gets it because that's the beginning of it.
Yes.
So I think that's what they're going to tie it into. But you have to go through the
Oh, you have to.
You have to go through where you get to Larry Bird. And I think you get a touch of Jordan in there because there has to be some animosity towards this guy.
I can't wait for that casting. Oh, if you thought I was upset about Dr. J, let them get my baby wrong. What'd you think about the guy playing Larry Bird?
I thought it was good. I mean, he's a little. Larry had a little bit more. Larry's just a little different. Larry always was a little different. He's fumblier looking than that guy,
right? And again, you just said it for drama purposes. Larry was always described as one of the top tier shit talkers and tough guys. Do you think they made him a little too much of a dick?
I think so, but I think at the beginning when you don't know each other and you're
like, you really think he put his hand over the mic and said to Magic, "I'm gonna fucking destroy you"?
No, I don't think it happened like that, but I think that they're in this animosity. And plus, he is a shit talker. So if they had any kind of relationship whatsoever, I could say I'm like, we're maybe in a more rivalry kind of way, not in an animosity kind of way. I always felt that their relationship, we all know that the relationship today is strong. They have a good relationship. And I never heard either one of them saying it was bad then. So I think it was more rivalry than animosity.
Right.
But they kind of make it a little more animosity.
Right. Yeah, I definitely see where they're adding extras to this.
But here's part of it too. If you don't want Magic, if you want Magic to be who Magic is, and Magic does have some animosity towards Bird because Bird is getting
Rookie of the Year.
He's getting all the, he's the next, he's the, so there has to be a little bit there.
But it also feels like part of that was because of the white factor.
It is the white factor, but of course you're going to be mad. But I love it when it says, "Don't worry, Rook, you win the championship.
Right.
You'll get your due."
Right.
So that's there too. So, but I think, when we talk about race, I made a joke about how everything is about racism. There is a lot of, even if all the guys playing on the court could get past all racism, they still have to go to the cities that they live in and they play in. And that's going to be there. And so the undercurrent of this has to be somewhat of the racism that's, especially at this time, especially when the black players are being blamed that the league is going down because there's too many black people and they can't sell the game. And who's coming to save the game? One black dude, one white dude.
And of course, the white guy's got to be the hero.
I'm just saying.
I love when Arsenio Hall said on the Best of Enemies doc, when he goes, dude, Larry Bird could have been on the bench. And if one other player had, 15 assists, the reporter in the game would go, yeah, that guy right there, 15 assists. Wow. And Larry made that happen. He wasn't even in the fucking game.
I mean, yeah, there was this love, obviously a love for Larry that was going on at the time. But
when Rodman made that comment about if it were a black player, he wouldn't get all that hype. He'd be an average dude. It's because he's white. And a lot of people, and I agree, said, no, this time, Rodman, you fuck with the wrong white boy. Because Larry was the real deal. He was the real fucking deal. So I don't know that I agree with that. If he was just a black player, he'd be an average player. He was the real deal.
I don't agree with it because he was playing against black players, and he was a tough matchup for any team. So he was the real deal. He was a real player, and he had love from all the other players, from all the other athletes on the floor. So I don't. Rodman got him a little later in life when he was having his back problems. So yeah,
he played a young Rodman in Detroit.
Yeah, but he couldn't say what he said. He said that later. He said it later.
No, he said it during the series.
Did he? But
yeah.
But Bird was already.
No, Bird was in his prime.
It was prime Bird before the back. Wasn't he laying? I thought he was. When they were playing, he's laying on the.
No, that was prime Bird, championship Bird.
Bird didn't have the longest run. He got hurt. I mean,
he ended in the mid '90s, probably the earlier part of the mid '90s.
All right, I thought it was. I didn't think it was at that time.
Listen, I'm gonna share a sentiment that 50 Cent said in regards to Eminem, and this is where I think Bird and Eminem are similar. But also, like I'll agree with 50 Cent to a point when he goes, look, hip hop is a black music. We all know that. It's a black music. It derives from black culture. It's our music. What upsets a lot of black people is that there's a white boy who's the best at it. Now, I wouldn't say he's the best, and I'm not talking about Eminem and hip hop, even though I disagree with that he's the best at it. I don't think he is the best at it, but I get what he's saying. The fact that there's a white boy who does this as well as us and better than a lot bothers some black people. Larry Bird, was he the best at basketball? No. But he was damn fucking good and better than a lot of niggas. And even Bird at one point conceded to Magic. He said, look, Magic's the best. He's just the best. He's the best I've ever seen. So that tells you what you need to know. But Bird was a beast.
Dude, I think it was Riley that said, if the game was on the line, I'd want Michael. I think it was Michael taking the last shot. Mm-hmm. Or maybe he said later. I don't know, but it wasn't. But who finished it up? Pretty sure it's Riley that said it. But if my life was on the line,
right,
I want Bird to take the shot.
Right.
This is this could go on. This conversation could go on forever. The hard part for this is that there's two guys that are coming out that are equally talented players, not on the same level because they each have different skill sets, but they both, without that rivalry, without the Bird rivalry, there is no NBA today.
Right.
It doesn't make it till Michael gets here.
Right.
It was already out the door. It's and
even Michael said in this, they saved it, not me.
No, he took it to the next level.
Yes.
This was built by them. This NBA. And to this, I would also like to say, and I know I'm going to get in trouble for making this men and women shit here go on here, is I watch right now what's going on, and a big shout out to this doesn't do anything, and I don't even know why I want to say big shout out, but I really feel bad. Brittany Griner is in Russia. She's being held. But then I hate, and that is a serious situation. But then they'll turn it to why she's there, because she's making money, and that's why they travel to go to these other countries.
Right.
So do men. Men actually make more money in some of the European countries than they make in the NBA. When Tony Kukoc came here, he took a pay cut to come to the NBA. The reason women's basketball doesn't make the same, they don't get paid the same as the men, is because the sponsorship dollars, the seats, the ticket, the butts and the seats aren't there. And at the time, at the infancy of the NBA, it almost closed because it wasn't there either. These things have to be built. And I just, sometimes when they say, well, our salaries aren't justified, I'm like, but a lot of these guys at some point in their life that were playing professional baseball, football, basketball, had jobs in the off season as well. Because they didn't get paid enough just to live off that. So I'm happy to watch, and I really believe that I'm saying something truthful. Watching the WNBA, and it's getting better.
I ain't watching this shit.
I've watched some, and it is getting, like, the shots aren't being shot from down. They're not being shot from down here. There's elegance that's going into the game. They're not struggling.
Humbug.
Your game is getting better. You're gonna make the money. It's gonna come, but you gotta.
I don't know. It's gonna come.
We gotta build. You gotta build it though.
It's not coming.
If you want it, you gotta build it. That's
it
the
ain't
thing.
coming.
I disagree.
Fuck that.
There's too many. There's too many stations, man.
The WNBA's success and next level is like a black father in the projects that left his kids. He ain't coming. Daddy's gone.
They're playing. They're throwing hatchets at targets on the wall at ESPN at nighttime. They need more sports.
That's more exciting than the WNBA. Hatchets against the wood. Incidentally, Chick Hearn's response to Riley getting banged up, he said, oh, they put some new gorilla at the door.
Yeah.
And this, again, I think I asked you this question before. How many mistakes do you get as a white person?
Okay.
Before now you're racist.
I think that is a callback to I think that's part of the same.
That came from the same place?
I think it's coming from no, not with Chick. I think it's coming.
But Chick said that.
Yeah. In the show. I think that's coming from the same thing that had transpired that he apologized for. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's similar, so it could be. If it's not, if it's his own, like this is what he likes to just go with,
say racist shit,
then yeah. But I honestly believe that, and what my belief isn't even that important, but I think old men say racist shit.
Right.
Without, and I'm going to call it bigoted because that's Archie Bunker. This is what they are. That's what they grew up with. This is who they are. I think they're stodgy. They get stuck in something. I don't think that they're trying to, yeah, but it's racist. There we go.
You gave up.
Yeah, it is. I mean, but do I see Archie Bunker as racist or do I see him as a bigot?
Does it matter?
It does if it's holding someone back, and that's what racism is, when you're preventing someone from being able to move forward.
So as long as you're not being stopped from moving forward, we'll take bigotry.
But Chick Hearn had the potential to keep people from moving forward. When he's like, oh yeah, trade them. We don't. So yeah, maybe to that, if that is my definition, which it is my definition,
right,
then it is racist.
Even while being an asshole, Magic was likable. That scene where Cookie's got the kind of like new boyfriend.
Yeah.
And I love this. And he goes to the court to play this dude. And at one point, the guy complains, hey man, just play ball. And they cut to Magic saying it, but with a little kid's voice. Yeah, just play ball. And then at one point, he says to the dude, yeah, man, you might fuck a body, but I fuck a soul. I'm like, yo, Magic was a dick, but he was a lovable dick. And that sounds crazy.
No, it doesn't.
No. Lovable dick.
Oh,
from a man. He's a lovable dick.
It doesn't. No. Yeah.
It's different if you say it's a lovable dick, but he's a lovable dick.
You have to be, there has to be an amount of arrogance to get to the top of the whatever heap you're trying to get to.
Right.
There is no, I'm sorry, man. There is no nice guy that's on the top of anything. Tell me the nice guy that you met that's fucking ruling the world.
There's got to be a little bit of asshole.
If you can't have that much arrogance, how could you get there? How can you get there? You have to look past people to get someplace sometimes. How else can you get there? Right. I'm not saying that it's okay to be that. I'm just saying, I think that in everybody that we put on a pedestal because we think that they're the greatest,
Right.
there's an asshole in those people.
Right. Dude, the scene where Magic goes to the hustler, that pimp dude, like when they went to the premiere to fix it, and the guy gave him the card, and Magic goes in, of course, all the hoes are there, and they show the scene, every now and then when you don't expect something that's graphic, it makes you go, oh. They show the scene where Magic is eating this black bitch's pussy, and I mean, his head is in the snatch, and she has got some big titties, and she's butt naked, and she's grabbing his head, how do you, when you audition and you get that part, how do you share that news with your parents? Mom, I just got hired to be on a series about the Lakers called Winning Time, especially if your dad's a fan of sports. Oh yeah, what you seen? Magic's eating my pussy. Who do you share that news with?
How does it read on the credits? Girl getting her pussy ate.
Right. Or the reason Magic got the HIV.
I read in some other stuff on that guy does not exist. The
guy, the pimp.
That was okay. But what it was there was multiple people that had girls and that Magic Magic knew, but it wasn't like one character that just pulled up and everybody was like, you got to watch this one dude. There was a lot of those guys in LA at the time. And so they made him the one, but there was a lot of that going on.
Right. Episode 4, they open up with Jerry Buss having dinner with this chick, and in walks his ex-wife and their daughter, Jeannie, a young Jeannie. Yeah. This nigga's fingering this bitch underneath the table. And listen,
you never fingered a girl?
Nigga, I immediately yelled in my house, no, nigga, not at the table. This is where you eat.
You've never been at dinner.
Never.
Had some drinks.
Never.
Had a girl that wants to fuck.
Andy, I don't mix food and anything sexual. I don't do it. They're two different specific pleasures. You don't cross those lines. I lick my fingers when I eat. And I'm going to forget I got coochie juice on my fingers. Nah, nigga.
You just made a new...
There is something primal about white people. That is very Viking-like. Niggas, no, man. It's like I said in that scene in Black Knight, when the king says to Martin, I want to learn more about your people. And Martin said, you want to learn more about my people? You start by moving the dog from the table. Them is nigga rules. We not mixing pussy juice with food.
Maybe they already ate. You
at the table, B.
You're at drinks. You already ate.
You got food residue on your fingers.
What about the movie theater?
Nah, because I eat popcorn. Food, man. If you listen, with the wrong food residue on your fingers, you burn a bitch pussy if you put the wrong shit on her.
I think you're more focused on the pussy at that point.
Then don't fuck with the food.
Yeah, but I don't have to have popcorn at the movies.
Okay, if you're not going to eat nothing, yes. But you got choice. You got nachos. You got popcorn. You got hot dogs. Who goes to a movie theater and doesn't eat movie food?
I like the popcorn and the Coke, but I've partaken at the movies.
Nah, B, I can't. Food go in my mouth. And pussy can go in my mouth too. But the botanicals and the juices that come with pussy don't belong with food, man.
You never had a little champagne in the blowjob?
I would do that because I've never done that before. And that's going in her mouth. I don't care what goes in her mouth. If it's touching my shit. But nah, yo.
You should try the champagne.
I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
Oof. Probably when she suck my dick, I'll make the noise. I'll pop my cork.
Okay.
I just went not at the table, man. And then his daughter walked in.
Oh, the daughter part was, that's a little.
Right. Dude, I love how, what's his name? Paul Westhead was the coach before Riley. What was the guy's name that was the coach before Paul Westhead?
It is. I got some notes.
Was it Jimmy?
No. I got it. It's coming.
It's on the tip of my fucking tongue, but I can't remember it.
I always forget his name. He wasn't there that long.
I think it starts with a J. Let's see, Riley. Fuck.
Where's it? I got it here.
I'm gonna say, watch this.
Yeah. Oh, I have it here too.
The Los Angeles Lakers' first coach.
It wasn't their first coach.
The LA Lakers coach during the 80s. It's going to bring up Pat Riley.
It's Jack McKinney.
Jack McKinney, God damn it.
Thank you.
I love when Jack McKinney was explaining the flow of the game.
Jazz.
And compared it to jazz.
I have it written down here.
And the whole musical analogy was beautiful. And I know that from watching the folks, if you haven't seen it, and I know most fellas I'm sure have, the fucking ESPN's 30 for 30 Best of Enemies. Paul Westhead went away from what Jack McKinney did and turned their flow into a half-court flow. He took out the Showtime aspect of the Lakers. They weren't running and gunning. And that's when Magic was upset and wanted to trade. And when he said it's either me or the coach, a lot of the fans turned on him because they were like, who's the player think he is to get the coach fired? And even some of the players they all were also mad at Magic because he was fraternizing with Buss. But then
they don't really say that in this though, but they were really mad at him.
Yeah, no, they were.
Yeah.
But then eventually when Paul Westhead was fired and Riley was in, Riley said, Magic, do what you do. And that's when Showtime was implemented back and they started winning again. And everybody was happy again. And Magic was forgiven. What the fuck was Paul Westhead thinking?
Well,
why would you stop Showtime?
Okay, I want to give you that Jack McKinney quote that they did in there. He said, "The point guard is the melody and the tempo. The wings are the harmony. The center's the bass."
Oh,
and then okay,
and bass.
Yeah,
for Kareem.
Yeah,
that's proper.
Well, and then they do talk about chaos because then Kareem says, that's street ball, and he says it's chaos. There's a theory of chaos where once and they kind of show it, which was kind of I never seen it shown this way before, and I thought they did a great job. That when everything is working in harmony, even though everything is on its own and it looks chaotic to the eye, there is a repetition. There's a pattern within chaos, and that's the chaos theory. And when you have that, and when that is happening, that is that is complete synergy of everything working well together.
Right.
And so the idea of chaos, and that's why my son's name's True Chaos, is because chaos has always been seen as something that's erratic and all over the place. But if you really dig into it,
right, there's
something very stabilizing about it.
Right.
And so that's what when he said that, I was like, damn. And I like how he said it. I like that Kareem, because he came from that wooden era basketball, though, that how we play basketball, and it's the X's and O's part of the basketball. He was like, that's street ball. But street ball is what it needs. You have to have both layers. And that's part of what the chaos of that is. You have to have the basics,
right? But
you got to be able to take it up.
Yeah.
So and
I remember everybody on the Lakers except Kareem wasn't a fan of Paul Westhead changing the flow of the offense, except Kareem. Because Kareem was like, basically, the ball is in my hands. And he was like, that's the head coach. So if that's what the head coach wants to do, you have to be open to what the head coach says. But you're being selfish.
But that's why I think Westhead kind of went to that, is because that featured Kareem again. That was a winning way. That was the way that the Milwaukee Bucks won. Was Kareem's the feature, it goes from the guard to Kareem, we win games. But there was too much there. There was too much there to limit it that way.
Right.
And I love when he's talking about how much you score when you're taking 20 seconds to score.
Yes. That whole breakdown, dude. If it wasn't for the bike accident, he would have remained the coach.
Yeah, and he never really recovered. Like he recovered and this is interesting. I don't have this in my notes, but I did read this. When he was ready to coach again, or when he felt like he was ready and he was cleared and he was coach, Buss is actually the one who got him the job in Indiana. He called in and they spoke, and he got him the job. Westhead, they had already won the championship, so they weren't going to move Westhead.
Right.
And the players were comfortable with Westhead. So he went to Indiana, and he did well the first year. I think he got him to the playoffs. I don't know where they went, but then he couldn't maintain it, and he died in 2019. And they said though that it was from that brain injury.
Really?
Yeah, I mean he was older by then, but the brain injury never went away. There were still complications from that. It was a horrific accident. It didn't happen the way that they showed it in there. It was close.
Everything's a lie.
No, it was very close. They show it like the brakes went bad. His gears locked up when he was coming to a stop sign, and he flew off it's very similar to what it is. It didn't go exactly.
So they tried to throw us off, making it look like the car was going to hit him.
Yeah. And somebody said that might have happened. He was going in and out of traffic or whatever, but he hit his brakes, flies off, hits his head, slides.
Oof.
And then I guess all the other part though about like the cutting the top of his head off and everything.
That was a lie?
No, that was real. Because that had the swelling in the brain has to go somewhere and it will kill. So that's true. He had a traumatic brain injury.
Jesus.
But that's this is how life is though. Here's a guy that's playing, that's a coach in the league that has this thing in his head that he's trying to put somewhere. No one wants to give him a chance, only because of the Tarkanian thing and Weiss, his manager or business partner. If that doesn't happen, Tark's there, and he's never going to. He may never have gotten an opportunity to ever be a head coach, but he finally gets this opportunity, and we didn't even talk about the Tark part yet. I think we jumped past it, but he gets that position, and has this great idea of how to play basketball, and it worked.
Was Paul Westhead really that weak? They made him look like a weakling.
I don't know that
did he piss on himself, or that was blood?
That was blood.
Oh,
he had kidney stones.
That make you do that?
It can. Yeah, you can believe.
Damn.
It. So, yeah, but we didn't discuss Tarkanian coming from UNLV, and his business manager. And this I read too. He was, I guess he got in some financial trouble with. They never solved it. It's an unsolved crime.
Right.
They never figured out who did it. But what they think happened is that he was in debt to some of these mobsters in Vegas. They wanted him to.
Oh, that's right. Wait. No, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, because this is before. They wanted him to launder money.
Right.
He was taking money to LA and doing but he was skimming. And so they killed him all at the same time. And then Tark couldn't do it. And that is all true, except for me. They kind of made it seem like it was because he was leaving Vegas.
Right.
But that wasn't the real case.
All right, folks, that's part one. We're going to give you part two next week. Because we still got a lot on the plate.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. So this is part one. We can hit them with part two next week. And I'm pretty sure I think we could wrap up part two and include maybe the Magic 4-part documentary.
Maybe. That's because we were only on 4.
Right. And then we will have seen episode 10 when we get home.
The bottom line is this is a fucking great.
It really is.
Miniseries.
Really is.
It's not a documentary. It's a limited series. There is some in and outs where you have to do your own research if you see something. But I looked up all the things that I was like, this can't be real, and those were the things that were real. So check out the series.
And ladies, I know a lot of y'all might not be heavy into the sports, but what's great about this is for a guy, obviously there's the sports, but it's past that. This is a soap opera with men. So it's a male soap opera, but it's great. Look at that. Check it out, man. Winning Time. It's fucking great. Want to give out some dates before I...
Yeah, I'll give out some dates. Where are we?
Is that it right there?
Yeah, but
we're in Louisville next week.
Yeah, it's right here. Here we go. May 13th through the 15th, we're going to be at the Louisville Comedy Club. May 26th to the 29th, we're in Helium at Philadelphia.
You
excited? Then June 3rd through the 5th, we're at Bricktown Comedy Club in Oklahoma City. Followed by June 24th to the 26th, we're going to be at the Tacoma Comedy Club in Tacoma, Washington. See, you took the role.
Just a bit outside Cleveland.
You took that though, and then Louis fell out of your ass.
Ooh, that one's bad too.
We're done.
Oh, damn. Yeah, that one had some. Louis got shot, nigga. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. I'm so sorry. It was the after effects of the tranquilizer dart. It made the beans that I ate shoot out of my ass. I'm so sorry, dude. I didn't think that was going to do that.
I didn't get it. I just ran out.
Okay. This is from K. Jones. It's called New Jersey Drive. It's a freestyle. It's called Cash Out for Real. He's available on YouTube. Cash Out for Real. FORREAL. Instagram is cash.out.forreal. FORREAL. Instagram and cash_out_for_real. FORREAL on TikTok. Somebody wrote me an email to the brother who, and Andy, you got to see this video. He wanted me to post it on my Instagram, but I got nervous and I told him I'd give him his money back. He had a song that we played called God Hates Black People. And because I got my account suspended, I'm just nervous because it says God hates black people. And it made me think of God hates fags, like some of those lunatics that do those protests. And obviously fags you would get in trouble for on Instagram.
That's the Westboro Church.
Yeah. You would get in trouble for that. But then just those words together, God hates. And then you throw black people on that. And then in the video, and the lyrics are fire. And he's really saying some poignant, important shit. And he's kind of echoing what I've always felt, which is in the first part of his lyrics, he's saying, if God loved black people, why 400 years of slavery? So big shout out to him, brother. I'm sorry if you're listening. I'm going to refund you your money. I want to play it, but I just got my account back and I just can't risk losing my shit for something that might be deemed too controversial. But anyway, Cash Out for Real, New Jersey Drive freestyle. Enjoy.
Go Suns!
They're up?
No, they're not. They're down.
How much?
12 points.
Ooh.
Spears and Steinberg.
You know what the fuck it is.
Aries and Andy. Chew and the jerk.
You know it's time to get this work.
The real raw, gutter, uncut cocaine. No political corrections.
Always sleep.
Fuck being awoke. We discuss politics and jokes.
Scribe, we lit.
There's levels to this shit. Before you was sucking on your mama's tit.
Aries Spears don't give a fuck.
We talk about race a lot, racism.
Sexism.
Much love to my loyal bitch bag holders.
Rollers, clip loaders.
We got them in the folders.
The whole world on our shoulders.
Spears and Steinberg.
Yeah.